Just me today. Finishing starting pitcher ranks. I'm going to be pretty quick here. We're into the 50s on the podcast. The written articles are all out there for the reading. Starting pitcher is done. Went more than 100 deep. Wrote up, all the team preview stuff is all there. Bunch of pitchers. Well more than 100 written up in detail on the team previews, but I've ranked at least 100, and then I wanted to kind of go through the deep league guys to keep an eye on. But I'm going to more or less summarize the last two parts of that today as we finish this up. And then me and Tim will be back soon with a second base preview, and we'll see where we go from there. But trying to keep the flow of 3 to 5 podcasts out per week, especially now. Like, this is harvest time. Mid-February really starts gearing up. People start getting ready. So always, as always, the best way for you to be ready for fantasy baseball and everything else is just to be a paid subscriber at MLB Data Warehouse. I read more than I podcast. The tools are really taking shape. I mean, just a lot of good stuff. Projections, the daily projections, the betting stuff, the DFS stuff is going to go to a whole new level this year. Now, an announcement on that, it'll come out, but I'll give you a quick teaser of it right now. The MLB DW Pro is what you're going to need to get everything, the daily projections and stuff. So the basic paid subscription will be $13.99 a month now. And that'll get you the daily notes, the dashboards, everything except for the daily projections and the stuff that come off that. So that's really for the fantasy players, especially the dynasty players, because Tim and Doc are going to be writing and doing podcasts, and there's going to be great tools, minor league tools, minor league StatCast stuff. There's going to be an explosion of that this year too, because all of these minor league parks have StatCast data. So no doubt about it, it's going to be, I think, the best way to access that minor league StatCast data and expert analysis from Tim and Doc and John, and maybe even some others, maybe even myself. Maybe I dip more into it. Maybe I dedicate like one day a week to look at some prospect stuff or something. So there's that. I'd say that's worth a monthly fee, a monthly $14 a month, $13.99. And then the daily notes, just to keep you on top of the MLB stuff, as well as the tools and other stuff. And there'll probably be one free day a week of the daily projections and DFS and betting stuff too, just as like a teaser. So that's that. But if you want the full thing, you got to be an MLB DW Pro subscriber. Now, before this, it was only one option. You could buy it for the year for $225, which is about half the price of the Bet X. And you get projections plus a bunch of tools. So it's, I would say, even better for the serious DFS players. I would say get the Bet X and get mine, right? If you're doing high volume, get that stuff, use the projections. If you're a paid subscriber, if you're a pro subscriber, let me know what tools you want me to develop or whatever is to help you out with that. And we can all use that and all benefit from it. But the new thing, which will be announced, which I guess I'm announcing right now, but it'll be written for everybody to see, is that there will be a way to get on a monthly basis. So there'll be a Discord, a couple channels in the Discord for pro members. And that you can get that through you can go to this other website and sign up for a monthly charge. It'll be a little bit more expensive per month, but you can cancel it after a month or whatever if you don't want to commit for the whole $225. So you can go there, sign up through that. That'll get you into the Discord, and the links and all the analysis and stuff will be in the Discord as well. So anybody who's already a MLB DW Pro, I'll get you in that soon. I'm just kind of finalizing it all. So that's it. I know it's not quite time to, we still have a month and a week, probably. So it's 7 weeks until regular season gets going. So I can't really boast any tools or daily projections yet, obviously, but that'll get going. So keep that in mind if you want to do just like a monthly. So two things to remember. This year, you have to pay a little bit more. You have to be a new tier subscriber to get the daily projections and all that stuff. And if you want to do monthly, you can do that, and that'll be announced specifically soon, and it'll be made known how to do that very soon. But let's go through starting pitchers. I'm not going to, maybe I'll read them all off. I don't know. I'm just going to highlight the guys I really like and the guys I really don't as we go through this. So I'm going to not do this. We're going to do this differently. Share this, and we're just going to walk through the written article here. We'll zoom in on that. So I left off at 51. And immediately here in tier 8, I have a guy that I really like. If you are watching the video here, you'll actually just kind of get the whole paid thing for free because you can read it on the screen. But for those of you just listening, I will just kind of highlight the stuff I want to talk about. So Shane Smith is one of my favorites. He was a Rule 5 pick for the White Sox, so he had to stay on the roster all of last year. And he was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't anything glorious. It was a 3.81 ERA, a 1.2 whip, 24% K, 9% walk, a 4.2 SIERA, 7 wins. So that was fine for Shane Smith. But what I see in him is like, okay, he got the first year in the majors kind of off his back. That can be challenging, I'm sure, and kind of your first time seeing major league hitters, and he couldn't get demoted or anything like that. Like, he had to stay, but I would say it was a wildly successful season. The White Sox look pretty sharp for getting him for basically free. But the reason I think he can really take another step forward, fastball is just so good, 95.7 mile an hour average, so enough velo. A 121 NLBW grade is really good, 12.8% swing strike rate. Really good fastball foundation, 54% strike rate. I love seeing that. And then a lot of guys have that and they just don't have anything else, but he's got a changeup, which has a lot of potential. Only 17% usage on it, so he threw the fastball a lot, but this changeup had a 15.8% swinging strike rate. It didn't get a ton of strikes, only 37% strike rate, which is really low. It's not quite as low since it's a changeup. You don't expect 50% from a changeup, but that's low, but the whiffs are there. And then he throws in, curveball, sinker, slider. He had 5 pitches above 10% usage. So there's a lot of different ways to attack and a really solid fastball foundation. So I think he can really go high above expectation this year. So he's my 52, which is way above where he's being drafted. So I've ended up with a lot of Shane Smith. And hopefully we're right, because I think I'm going to talk a lot of people into drafting him. Right after him is 53 Jack Flaherty, another guy that I think is fine. The problem with him is like he doesn't have a way to get lefties out. He attacks righties and lefties the same, and it just doesn't work all that well for him. It's just like the thing to see about him is the K to walk stuff. I mean, 19% last year, 24% K minus walk in 2024. So these last 2 years, basically he walked a lot more guys last year. That's true, but still pretty solid numbers last year in 19% K minus walk, 28% K rate, all like stuff you like to see. Just had a home run problem, 1.3 home run per 9, but it's a classic situation where if he drops that down to 1.1 home runs per 9 and keeps a 19 to 20% K minus walk, like he's going to do a lot better than what this price suggests for sure. So I'm on board with Flaherty, but he doesn't have much like upside, and who knows, maybe the league's just figured him out. I don't know. Luis Castillo, Trey Savage, Kodai Senga, and Tanner Bybee round out this tier. I like the buy low on Bybee. I don't think he has much upside, but I just think he'll definitely be better than last year. I got a bad fastball, but it's not going to be as bad as it was last year. It was really, really bad last year for Bybee. I don't think it's going to be good, but I think it'll be good enough to set up some of the other stuff he has. He does have good secondaries. So a little bit of bounce back opportunity there. I think he's a guy that can give you 175 decent innings. Again, he's not going to be like an ace or a guy that you're really happy you ended up with. But I think on balance, like the end of year numbers will look pretty good for where you got him. Savage and Senga, I'm just kind of off for similar reasons, really. Like some volume questions. I don't know. We've never seen Savage make it through a full major league season. We've never seen Senga since last 2 years has been hurt a ton, and they're both so reliant on this splitter. It's not called a splitter for Senga, I guess. He calls it a fork ball, but I think it's a splitter. Fork or split, kind of the same, kind of synonyms there, aren't they? He just like wanted to brand the pitch or whatever. It's a splitter. So they both have like questionable fastballs and over reliance on splitters. So I think they will have excellent starts. Like they'll be DFS dudes. They will be guys that just put up single starts that are really good, but I think they're going to have some rough patches as well. Luis Castillo, kind of just a similar, like safe-ish name, not much upside there, similar to Jack Flaherty. Tier 9, we really open it up. Now, if you followed around this weekend, and if you're looking at the rankings now, like these have changed. I kind of made some tweaks and changes. I wrote a pretty interesting article about SIERA beaters, guys that have the kind of the archetype pitcher that can beat their SIERA, and it kind of turns out that lefties with changeups and curveballs really like oftentimes beat their Sierra. And Andrew Abbott's here at 58, but I moved him up. I think I might have moved him up a little bit too much, but he's around the top 50 for sure. And I had him 58, which is above, I think above where he goes. ADP's one. No, that's not there. ADP's not shown here, but I don't know. I'm kind of just convinced now that he can actually be better than his indicators tell you. But so he's here at 58. This is a huge tier on the screen you saw there if you're watching, but Abbott leads it off, and he's just really an interesting guy to talk about, but there's a lot written about him just recently, so go to MLB.warehouse.com and read that. Last year, 166 innings for Abbott, 2.87 ERA, 1.15 whip. All in that with a 15% K- walk, which is still fine. 15% isn't a problem. It's not good. You really want like 19, 20, 21% to like really believe in a sub 3 ERA, but 1.0 home runs per 9, that's way lower than you would think, but I don't know. The changeup, the curveball, like he's been doing this for 3 years, beating his Sierra with his ERA. His worst ERA, it was back in that rookie year at 3.87. 2024 was 3.72. Just seemed to figure something out. Was he lucky? Did he figure something out? Probably both last year. So he probably comes back up, maybe a 3.35, 3.45, something like that. 3.4 ERA, 1.17, 1.2 whip. But as long as he keeps the ball in the yard, which is not an easy thing to do because he's a massive fly ball pitcher in Great American Ballpark, which makes it tough, but he's done it for 3 years now. Hasn't had a huge, okay, in 2024, he did kind of have a huge home run problem, 1.6 home runs per 9, but if he settles in at 1.2 home runs per 9 or something like that, I think he'll be fine. And he's certainly a good bet to like stay healthy and give you good innings on a decent team. Zach Allen's here, Matt Boyd, Zebby Matthews, Edward Cabrera, Ryan Nelson. It's kind of a clump of similar guys. Like they can all have good starts. They all have good and bad in the history. I guess Zebby doesn't have good in the past in his major league stuff, but we talked a lot about him. Kato Walk is good. Fastball velo is good. Has a lot of the components. Just kind of needs to figure out a way to get lefties out and needs to figure out a way to keep the ball in the yard. Maybe just get a little bit lucky with that. He's been really unlucky on fly balls. He's been really unlucky on BABIP. Had one of the highest BABIPs allowed last year. Zebby Matthews did. So I'm buying in on him. I don't think he'll ever be a great ERA pitcher. ATC projects 4.1, which is fair because he's going to get up some home runs. He doesn't have a great weapon against lefties, so that's a problem for him. But there's a lot of reasons to like him as well, just to do a lot better than what we've seen. So he kind of cracks around my top 60. A lot of these names should be up a couple slots just because I didn't take Schwellenbach out or Reese Olson, although I'm not sure where he was initially. But they should all be up at least one because Schwellenbach obviously is not in the picture anymore. And we also just found out today about Pablo Lopez being looked at. We'll have to look more into that. I just saw the headline before this podcast, but that's kind of looking rough too. So they're certainly going to need Zebby in Minnesota. Zach Allen signs back with Arizona. It was kind of an update. I don't really think much changes. Just needs to get the command back. If he doesn't have pristine command, he was never going to be good. He's been a command specialist without great stuff all his whole career. And that all worked pretty fine for him until last year when he didn't have the command anymore, which that's what happens with those kind of guys. So that's a risk you take. But, as your 4th or 5th starting pitcher in a league, I think it's worth a shot. Maybe he bounces back. Maybe gets back to the 2023, 2024 form, something like that. Ryan Nelson's an interesting case on that same team, Diamondbacks. He throws 61% four-seamers, but it's a good four-seamer. I don't like him for that reason, but he had a really good whip last year, and it is a really good fastball. So he can go out there and deliver quality starts, like as long as he keeps the ball in the yard, which I don't know. Like, it's not much ceiling, and there are potential really bad starts because he doesn't have much behind the fastball. But again, it's a good fastball. So it's kind of, they'll be good, they'll be bad. All in all, I think the ERA is not going to be great. The projection is 4.25, and that's from ATC, 4.12 from Oopsie. So both well over 4. So I don't know, more of an innings guy. The upside guys we find here: Reed Detmers, Conley Early, Braxton Ashcraft, Carlos Rodon. I'll stop there. I think all 4 of those guys that are in order here, I think they all have lots of upside, but plenty of downside for different reasons. Reed Detmers, just maybe he can't hack it as a starter. He was bad as a starter. Although he was good. Like, he was decent in the underlying stuff, but always bad in the ERA, the actual outputs for him. But when he was a starter, it never worked out for him as an Angel. And then he went to the bullpen and was really good. So he's coming back into the rotation now, which I think makes a lot of sense. Just like, we have no idea how it'll go. It probably won't go super well, but at least there's upside. I mean, good fastball, good slider, left-handed guy. So there's upside for him. It's just like, we'll see. You can't feel great about it. He might end up just being, maybe by June we're like, okay, he's just a reliever, and that's all he's going to excel at. But it's worth a look, worth a guy worth keeping an eye on, if nothing else. Conley Early, I wish I knew what their plans are for him. I guess we'll find out in the next couple of weeks as spring really gets going here. Games will be started this weekend. It's February 16th as I record this. So February 20th games start. And so that'll be fun. But if Early has a rotation spot, then he should be well above everybody else in this tier. I just don't know. I mean, he could start in AAA. So that's a problem for him. But lots has been said by me about Conley Early. Check out the Red Sox preview for a lot more. Braxton Ashcraft, he was in the same boat as Early at the beginning of the offseason for the Pirates because they had Burrows, Oviedo behind Skeens, Keller, Chandler. But now Burrows and Oviedo are out of the picture. And Ashcraft clearly is a starter for them. It's going to be Skeens. I still think they're going to sign a lefty. I really do. I think they're going to sign there was some like old bad lefty that they were talking about. I just think something like that's going to happen. But still, even so, it's like Skeens, Chandler, Keller are the locks, and then Jared Jones when he gets back, but he's not going to be back till June, really. So I think Ashcraft is clearly their fourth best starter right now. Maybe they get Hunter Barco, another lefty, involved, but Ashcraft is safe. Just don't know if he can hang as a starter. I don't know if he can throw 170 major league innings, making, throwing 90 plus pitches per outing and still be good. But he was really good in long relief last year, and he throws a lot of strikes, has quality stuff, good velo. So I like the upside. Just don't know. Kind of the same situation as Detmers. Rodon upside just for the fact that he's hurt right now, so you get a cheap price on him because he's hurt. But it's not to say that that he's not hurt. I guess right now he's recovering from some procedure after the season. So if you knew that he would come back to be the same guy, I would say this is a steal, but it's just like we don't know that for sure. Like an older guy without the most consistent career either. It's not like he's always been great when healthy. So now we just don't know if he'll be able to fully recover and when he'll be back and stuff like that. So there's questions, but there is upside for him to really crush this, at least especially in head-to-head leagues. Like if you can draft him and stash him on the IL, if you're getting him in the 20th round, 25th round or something like that, and then you can just put him on the IL and take your chances when he comes back. I like that idea a lot because he was really, really good last year, and he's had a really successful Yankees career overall. And then at the end of this, I'm at number 68, Cade Horton, number 69, Logan Henderson, two young NL Central guys that clearly are parts of the future for their teams. Just like I don't believe in either guy myself, but we'll see. I could be very wrong. I think Cade Horton's fastball stings, but maybe they can figure it out. Not the greatest velo. It's enough velo. It's not great. Logan Henderson doesn't have a lot of velo, but it's like the pitch moves well, I guess. He's got one of those like shaped dudes, Logan Henderson. But he's a short guy, so not a lot of velo, not a lot of extension, and that's a disadvantage for sure. He also doesn't have much of a pitch mix depth. Logan Henderson throws. I didn't even realize this. He's like crazy reliant on this four-seamer. He threw it 47% of the time last year, which isn't bad, but the changeup is 40%. So between his top two pitches, he's at 87% usage. Four-seamer and changeup were both good last year, but I don't know, maybe he was benefiting just from the league having not really seen that kind of unique size, that unique shape, whatever, and maybe they'll just kind of figure it out. And he's not going to have a lot to fall back on if his fastball's not good. So, but he's fine. I think he'll certainly be in the rotation. He would probably be the Brewers' number 4 guy right now, right? It would be Woodruff, Mazeroski, Priester, Henderson. I have him ranked as the Brewers' 3rd. I have Priester behind him, but Priester, I don't know how they'll line it up, but he's definitely in the top 5. So Horton and Henderson kind of round out the top 70 there. Guys from here I'd like to take some shots on Zebby, Conley Early, Ashcraft, and Rodon. I would say those are my favorites there. Then we go down to tier 10, a bunch more names. Reese Olson is here, but he shouldn't be anymore because he's out for the year. So forget about him. Simeon Woods, Richardson, Bailey Ober, Ryan Weathers, Mike Burrows, Parker Messick, Roki Sasaki, Robbie Ray, Cade Cavalli, Jack Leiter, Zach Wheeler. There's a couple of my favorite late round stabs in this one. So we talk about this strategy of in a standard league, if you're talking about a 12-teamer, even a 15-teamer, where you have waivers and you have trades, where you just want to get a solid 4 or 5 starters that you feel really good about using all year. And then after that, be ready to be flexible and build. And from the waiver wire and swap guys out, because there's going to be breakout starting pitchers early on. Every year you find those. So you want to be the team taking advantage of that. So with your last few picks, you want to just take some upside guys. Like, I don't really want to use my last pick on a Mitch Keller type or Jose Soriano type, some guys that are fine, but you know that they don't have much ceiling at all. Like, I would rather take a shot on Woods Richardson to see if he really is the guy. Last year he added the splitter and it was awesome at the last month. Now that could be a total fake. I don't know. It could have been lucky. Maybe the splitter won't work again this year, but there is that chance that all of a sudden he is, maybe if it's a 10% chance, 20% chance, like that's what I'm talking about taking. Like, if there's a 20% chance that he's really good now because of this splitter changed everything, then that's something I want to see. And you'll be able to figure it out pretty early on, right? Like, watch 2 starts, see if the splitter's working, see if he's throwing the splitter a lot. Even in the spring, you can see the splitter, like, is he still using that? So you can find out a lot of information early. And if it's not working, then just cut him for the guy that looks like it is working for. So those are the kind of bets I'm on. So Woods Richardson qualifies there. Even Bailey Ober kind of qualifies as that. It's just going to be about the velo and the health. Like, does he look like his 2024 self, or does he look like 2025? Again, you should be able to figure that out pretty quickly. But for now, it's worth a shot. He could have a very good whip. Probably not a good ERA as another twin that gives up a ton of fly balls, but he could really beat this price. I mean, it was not. He's 1 year removed from, what was it, in 2024? Bailey Ober threw 178 innings with a 1.00 whip and with a 27% K rate. So last year was a disaster, but is it crazy to think that he comes back to 2024, or at least like 85% of the way back to that or something like that? I don't think that's crazy. So it's worth a bet. Ryan Weathers, another guy, Yankees, maybe they unlock something. Maybe he stays healthy. He's got big time stuff, big time velo, left-handed guy. Like, he has the makings of a guy that really obliterates this price. Now, he's never stayed healthy and it's never been consistent, so you don't know, but it's a guy that you probably do want to be starting the first week. Like, if Ryan Weathers is on the mound as a Yankee in a decent matchup, like, I would like him to be starting. So why not take a shot at it, see what happens in the first couple of weeks, see how long you can make it last. So he's a target of mine as well. Mike Burrows, I mean, this is just a really nice tier of pitchers. And I think this is because I just started like cramming in all the late round guys I like the most. So this tier 10 is where I would be living, really. Burrows, I don't think there's a ton of upside for him, but with the Astros, they're going to add a sinker to his repertoire. His problem mostly has been health. He missed a lot of time. But last year he wasn't great because the fastball was just kind of mediocre, but his changeup was elite. He had like by some metrics, the 3rd or 4th best changeup. I mean, his changeup was like right there with Tarek Skubal, but I don't think that repeats necessarily, but it's a good changeup. So if the sinker comes in, if they do add a sinker and he can tunnel this 4-seamer and sinker together and set up the changeup, it could be a really nice year for him. It's a little bit of a park downgrade, I guess, but you could argue that maybe it's a better, I don't know, changing environments, maybe get fresh eyes on him. The Astros have certainly been an organization to turn some pitchers and turn out the best for them. You think of over the years, Verlander and Cole had like the greatest years ever with them. 2018, 2019, those two were 2 of the best pitcher seasons that I even remember. And they've done similar things with other guys as well. So Burrows I'm fine with. Parker Messick, no upside, but a safer guy than you think. So if you're in a points league, I would really like Parker Messick. Roki Sasaki, plenty of upside for him as well. I don't know, really got to see it. And you have severely limited innings for him. So I'm probably more off of him than on. Robbie Ray, I think I bumped him up a little bit after this too. He's kind of one of these lefties that can beat the ERA, but he was always really like kind of questionable command and gives up some home runs. And just like his strikeout rate kind of disappeared last year, which I never like to see. You don't like to see an older guy have a surgery or some kind of health issue and then come back with 8-point loss in his K rate. Maybe that's not fair to say. He was at 33% in 2024, but that was a short sample, 30 innings. So, but from 2021 to 2022, he was about a 28, 29% K rate guy last year in his first full year back from the Tommy John, 25% with a 10% walk rate. So it's just not great. And I think he is more likely to get worse than better. So kind of off Robbie Ray. Cade Cavalli, this guy gets drafted outside of the top 100 starting pitchers. I've got him in the top 80. That's been clear. I've talked about him a lot, so you know why I like him. If not, there's a tweet about it. I just spilled the beans for everybody. Jack Leiter, upside, just don't really buy into the command. I don't think it's going to happen for him, but the fastball's so good that it could, if he starts throwing strikes and maybe tweaks a changeup or curveball or something like that, it could be really good. I threw Zach Wheeler here. I had to throw him somewhere. I don't know. We probably need to see can go through spring training and see what the plan is, see if he's got to start the year in rehab or what. But yeah, I mean, a 36-year-old dude who just lost a rib after thoracic outlet syndrome, like pass. I don't know. He's not going to get to me. I'm not going to be the one drafting Zach Wheeler. So that's tier 10. Lots to like there. And that rounds out part 3, but we'll go through part 4 as well. Again, MLBDataWarehouse.com to get all this. So we're just kind of looking, we're past my 80th ranked starting pitcher now. So I'm just going to highlight like a handful or 2 handfuls of guys I really like late, just so you know. So Jose Soriano for leagues where you just want the innings. Like if you want 180 innings of a 3.75 ERA and 160 strikeouts, like bank it with Jose Soriano. And there's some upside for him too. If he has a lucky year with BABIP, with turning ground balls into outs and keeping the ball in the yard, like he's a guy that could give up legit like 7 or 8 homers all year. He has that kind of thing, potential with that ground ball rate. So it's just that he's not ever going to give you a 1.15 whip or like a 3.25 ERA. Like the ratios are severely capped on what he can do. But if you're into volume and you're into that kind of stuff, like he's a really nice pick for you. Bryce Miller and Joe Musgrove. I didn't really like Joe Musgrove initially. I just kind of doubt that he can come back from Tommy John, but maybe he can. I don't know. Both of these guys, Miller and Musgrove, are coming off some forms of injury. Miller was bad last year, but I think he was hurt. And I don't know. I like his fastball. I like how many pitches he's added on. Has good arsenal depth. And he finished the year strong. He looked really good in the last couple starts, especially one in the playoffs. So I think you could excuse some of last year for injuries. And he was a guy I was really excited about coming into last year. So I want to kind of buy low on him. Other guys here, we also just probably lost Hurston Waldrop. I didn't like him initially, but he's hurt as well. So you can kind of downgrade him even more. Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much it. The guys I like, and the screenshot I'm looking at right now, at least we'll get to more, but Merrill Kelly, fine, whatever. Maybe he can do it again. He's old, but a great changeup. He's kind of one of these guys that just is hard to hit because of the changeup, and he's had some really good years as an old guy. So maybe he can do it again. I don't know. Shane McClanahan's here as well. We need to watch him in spring to see the health. Don't listen to the reporters. They've been telling us he's healthy like forever, and he never is. So don't listen to that, but maybe he looks crisp in the spring. Maybe he does look healthy. Maybe he's ready. I don't know. 120 innings seems like the best case scenario, but he's very, very good, or at least he was. Can't say that McClanahan will definitely be the same guy after all these injuries. I mean, it's been 2 years since we've seen him, so I think it's pretty unlikely that we're ever going to be talking about him as like a fantasy starting pitcher that you really like. But I don't know. We talked about, it wasn't quite to this extent, but I remember with Zach Wheeler, 2017, 2018, around then, I think. Zach Wheeler had all these injuries, and we were all saying, including myself, I was like, well, that's never going to happen. And then look what happened. So probably foolish to give up completely on McClanahan. And if you're in like a 10-team league, last round pick, why not? Like take a shot, see what happens, because the upside is enormous. More names here. I called this mess number 1. It's just a smattering of names: Snelling, Cole, Burke, Lopez, Ian Seymour, Jared Jones, Grayson Rodriguez. Some injured guys. I mean, Grayson Rodriguez is healthy for now. He's coming in having a normal spring, but again, like he's like McClanahan. It's been a handful of years since we thought he should be breaking out and just can't stay healthy, but we'll see what he does with the Angels. Sean Burke is a guy I kind of like. Robbie Snelling is a guy I like. I just don't know if he'll make the rotation out of camp. So if you're in a league where you can't, it's foolish to use a roster spot on a guy in the minors. You don't want to do that with Snelling, but he'd be one guy I'd be looking to draft and throw in my IL stash spot if I have one of those. I know like Yahoo leagues often let you do that. I think it won't be long before Snelling comes up. I don't know if he has the greatest ceiling in the world. He's probably like 24-25% K rate guy in the majors, but left-hander that added a bunch of velo and had an awesome year in the minors last year. I think he's got a really good chance at being pretty good, and you can get him for free. And who knows, maybe he really will like really prove to have some ceiling. Garrett Cole throwing, at least, is in camp. I think we'll see him in May. He was already getting worse before he had all these injuries. So now with the full year missed and coming back as whatever he is, 34, 35-year-old, kind of doubt he's ever going to be Garrett Cole again. I think we've seen the end of the dominant Garrett Cole, but could be wrong on that as well. You got to keep your mind open to some guys defying the expectations. I would pass on Jared Jones. Hope he does well. Really hoping for the Pirates to have a nice season here, but command was always kind of his question. He's a limited pitch mix guy, mostly four-seamer slider. Velo's there, great, but the innings probably won't be a ton. And I think if you have any reduction in the command following this Tommy John thing, which I think is somewhat likely, like it's going to be kind of ugly. He'll be a guy that's pretty easy to hit home runs off of. And if he's putting 10% of batters on base for free, that's not going to go well, but good bet for a 27% K rate or something like that. It'll be fun to see, but I would pass. That's number 2. A lot of names in here, not much upside. Tyler Mahle, interesting, going to San Francisco. He should have a decent ratios year. I just don't know about the strikeouts. I don't know about the health. He's never really stayed healthy. So I wouldn't consider him one of those guys to like take a bet on late and see if the upside can hit, because I don't know if he has upside. I think he's kind of safe, though. I don't think he's going to be a guy going out there and getting train wrecked, right? Lucas Giolito, still need him to sign somewhere. Depending on where he lands, it could be fine. He might be interesting if he lands in a super pitcher friendly park. His issue has long been fly balls and home runs allowed. Chad Patrick is kind of like Drew Rasmussen light. Doesn't have Rasmussen type ceiling, but he's kind of that kind of dude. He throws a bunch of fastball variations and stuff. I think he could have a pretty nice whip and put up some nice numbers for the Brewers, but you're not talking about a guy that's going to end up being like a reliable SP3 or something for fantasy leagues. And I guess that's about it for who I really like here. Yeah, Sean Manaea has, he's got some moments. He'll probably have some moments this year, but he's never had a full good year. But he's someone that's not, you don't hate starting the year with Manaea in your fantasy rotation, because he is pretty good at times, and maybe you get a really good month and you can see how long that lasts and squeeze what you can out of him. And more names. Mess number 3. I kind of went down to almost, what did I do? This was the last group of guys I ranked. It's like Eric Getty, Kyle Harrison, Jonah Tong, Taj Bradley, Slade Ciccone, Troy Melton, Joey Cantillo, Max Meyer, Brandon Pfaadt, Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo, Luis Heel, Will Warren. I moved Ciccone up. No, scratch that. I moved Cantillo up because he's one of these lefties with a curveball or changeup, one of those two. He's one of these lefties that look like maybe he can defy it. And his changeup is really good. His fastball is garbage. So he has this elite changeup. So if he can do anything around that, he'll explode off. Like, I'm not saying he'll bust out to be a top 50 starting pitcher, but he could go from like the 100. You expect him to be around 100 right now, but if he adds a sinker or figures out a cutter or something like that and sets up this changeup, like he could definitely be a top 60 starting pitcher, top 75. I don't know. So there's some profit potential there, I would say, with Joey Cantillo. But for now, as things stand right now, I kind of don't believe it because he just doesn't have a fastball at all. Kyle Harrison is someone, at least he gets, he went from profiling to start the year in AAA to probably, I don't know what the Brewers said anything about that. I could see him being the Brewers number 4 or 5 starter. And when you think about the rotation, it's all righties, right? I could pull this up, but it's Woodruff, Mizurowski, Patrick, Priester, and then big question mark, right? So they kind of need a lefty. I think it's Kyle Harrison, and I think he's kind of decent. So not an upside guy, not a guy that it's going to be 10-team league relevant, I don't think. But for a 15-teamer with a super cheap price tag and you want innings, you want a guy that can throw 150 innings with a 3.8 ERA and a 1.2 whip, like I think he can do that. I don't think that's crazy. Detroit will also be interesting. Troy Melton, Sawyer Gibson Long. There's a little bit more. There might be another spot available with Reese Olson going down for the year. At least they're one slot closer. So if one of those guys ends up in the rotation, they'd be worth a look. But for now, we kind of think they'll both be either in AAA or in the bullpen. All right. So what else did I put here? My post 300 targets. I'll just read these off to you. I'm giving you too much, but it's on the screen anyway, so I'm already giving it away. But here you go for free. My post 300 ADP targets: Mike Burrows, Zebby Matthews, Robbie Snelling, Chad Patrick, Andrew Painter. But you got to check that fastball in the spring. We'll know a lot more about Andrew Painter in a couple weeks when we see him in the spring. Cade Cavalli, Simeon Woods Richardson, Reed Detmers, Justin Steele for an IL stash, Thomas White, Johan Oviedo, in case he makes the rotation and can throw strikes. Unlikely, but worth a shot. Upside if he does. Dustin May, Sean Burke, Mick Abel, Cade Povich. Cade Povich and Abel are super, super deep. Like they're in the 500s. So probably don't need to worry about them, but they're guys I'm keeping an eye on if they are in the rotation, which is in question. Thomas White is the Marlins probably their Thomas White might be the Marlins' second best pitcher in the organization behind Yuri Perez, but he's not going to start the year in the majors. He's got to go through AAA first. But if he gets called up, he's one of these dudes that you're picking up immediately in every league. He has that kind of upside. So we'll be talking a lot about that during the season. Kind of my dream, I don't know, I gave an example staff here of the kind of the 9 pitchers going through a feasible draft to pull off. I did that in the article as well. So I might as well just spill all the beans here. Like, this isn't quite a dream staff, I guess, but it's like this. I'd feel really, really good about pulling this off. And it's pretty reasonable to think you could pull off. Garrett Crochet is the ace. You take him in the second round. Maybe you're hoping second round. That's probably only happening if you're picking at the back of the draft. You get him like 13th or 14th. And then you come back third or fourth round on Hunter Green. Then I grab Yuri Perez in the 6th or 7th. I grab Misiorowski in the 9th, 10th, 11th. I grab Drew Rasmussen in the 13th, Mackenzie Gore in the 15th, Bryce Miller in the 20th, Conley early in the 21st, and Cade Cavalli for a late round stab. So Crochet, Green, Perez, Misiorowski, Rasmussen, Gore, Bryce Miller, early, Cavalli. Not necessarily my 9 favorite pitchers or anything like that, but just like guys I really like, and that kind of approach of getting in. I think I got, in this example, I got 4 guys with top 100 ADPs, including 2 of the top 10. So you kind of go in early and then you hit the middle range with Rasmussen and Gore, and then you kind of back off and just like take a few guys late that you think could really crush their cost. And if you have to drop them, fine. So that's that. And pitchers done. We got more position stuff and a lot more coming, man. It's getting pretty exciting. February 16th, we're getting close. And yeah, MLBDataWarehouse.com. Subscribe, become a pro subscriber to get absolutely everything and come along for the ride. We'll talk to you next time.